Hey, welcome to the video for Problem Stats 2.1a. The goal is I can use probability rules to calculate basic probability. So here we go. First day of probability. First off, just what it is. So probability is a chance that a specific outcome occurs. Okay, so it's just the percent chance that what we want to happen is going to happen. So if we're looking at that, okay, this P right here is just going to stand for probability. A is just some event that we want to happen. Okay, so the probability that I flip a heads on a coin, or I roll a 6 on a dice, or something like that. Okay, the formula for it pretty straightforward. The top would be how many ways that A can happen. So the number of favorable outcomes. So how many ways can A happen? So if A was flipping a head on a coin, there would be one way for that to happen. So that would be what goes up top. On the bottom, we would put whatever the number of possible outcomes are. So the total number of possible outcomes, meaning how many possibilities are there for that event, which is what chapter 1 was about. So if we're talking about flipping a coin, there's just 2 ways that can happen, okay? Heads or tails. So let's jump into examples right away. Today we'll just kind of take that and run with it. So first example, you have 4 blue M&Ms, 3 green M&Ms, and 8 orange M&Ms in a bag. So if that's the case, okay, what is the probability you draw a green one? So it's going to have to do with this number 3. So the probability that we draw a green, pull out a green M&M, okay, that's just the number of greens over the total number of M&Ms. So the first one, there we go. The first thing we need is how many greens there are, and that's 3. Okay, the second thing we need is how many M&Ms there are. So 4 plus 3 plus 8. Okay, so for this one, that would be 15. Okay, so there's 15 total M&Ms. Okay, that's the bottom of our fraction. 3 is the top because that's the color that we want. That's how many there are of the color that we want. Okay, so this right here, this 3 over 15, that's the only answer we would not accept. Okay, we need to look at first, either reducing the fraction. So if you reduce that fraction, that's 1 over 5. That answer would be okay. Okay, or you could get it as a decimal, which we'll do a lot. This is just 0.2. Okay, or you could do it as a percent. This is 20%. You don't need all 3 of those answers. Those are the 3 correct ways that you can write that answer down. Next, your band class has 6 freshmen, 7 sophomores, 6 juniors, and 3 seniors in it. So I would take all that and I would get a total. That's 22 total. You add that up. Okay, what is the probability that a sophomore is randomly selected? So P stands for probability. Inside the parentheses goes which grade we want to select. Okay, 22 goes on the bottom. And then however many sophomores there are, this time it's 7. Okay, that's what's going to go on the top. And that is a reduced fraction, so I would just leave that as the answer this time. Okay, or you can go, it's in the 30s, I think, if you take that percentage. Okay, or 0.3 something. All right, then they just have kind of an add-on question to that one. Okay, what if we want one or the other? What if we want a freshman or a junior? And remember last chapter, this word or meant to add some stuff together. So if we're doing that, that would be the probability of freshman or junior. Okay, what we're just going to do is we're going to add up the freshmen and the juniors. So if there's 6 freshmen and there's 6 juniors, okay, that's just 12. So that's 12 of the people. So this would be 12. There's still 22 total people that could get picked. All right, and then we just can't leave it like that because that's not reduced. So 12 out of 22 is not an acceptable answer. So we would divide both of those by 2 and get 6 out of 11. Okay. All right, let's move on. The next slide has just some basic rules for probability. So the first one, and then feel free to pause the video as we go and feel free to paraphrase. You don't need to write down every single word here. Okay, but the first thing here is that probability answers must be between 0 and 1. Okay, so the smallest possible answer is 0. You should never have a negative probability. Okay, 0 is the smallest it can be, and it means that it's impossible. So pigs flying is impossible. Okay, there's a 0% chance that a pig is going to learn to fly. All right. A probability of 1 means that it has to happen. So the sun will come up tomorrow. All right, that's going to be a probability of 1 or 100%. Okay, the closer to 1 that you are, the better chance you have of something happening. Okay, rule 2. All right, this one, okay, all the probabilities of the sample space must add up to 1. So that's what we're looking at for this one. Okay, it must add up to 1. Okay, so if you're talking about all of the freshmen and all the sophomores and all the juniors and all the seniors, that should add up to 100% of the population of the school. Okay, so everybody adds to 1 or 100%. Okay, and then there's this thing about complements. So the idea of something not occurring. All right, and there's a couple different ways that you can use notation for that. Okay, so this A with an apostrophe right here, that means not A. The probability that A does not happen. Okay, and what it is 1 minus the probability that it does happen. Okay, this is sometimes called the complement. It's the probability of an event not occurring. Okay, so the A with the apostrophe is one way to do it. Okay, you can also do A with a C, A complement. You can also do squiggle A. Okay, those are all the same as P apostrophe. Okay, they all mean not A. All right, so if you want the probability something doesn't happen, you can think about, well, what's the probability that it does happen? All right, more probability practice. So dice examples, okay, 6-sided dice. Okay, all the numbers 1 through 6 are on it. Okay, so the probability that you want to roll a 5, okay, 6 should be the bottom of that fraction. Okay, and then up top, you just want the number of 5s. Okay, there's only one way to do that. One way to roll a 5, so your answer would be 1 out of 6. My 1 just kind of looks funny, so I'll do that again. Okay, 1, there's only one way to do this. Okay, so 1 out of 6 would be fine. You could do like 0.167. You could do 16.7%. Okay, if you do a decimal, do 3 digits. If you do a percent, do the nearest tenth of a percent. Okay, roll an odd number. Okay, that would either be the 1 or the 3 or the 5 on the dice. So there's 3 ways to do that out of 6. Okay, which is 1/2, which is the same as 0.5, which is the same as 50%. Okay, rolling a number less than a 3. Okay, if you want to roll a number less than 3, it doesn't say less than or equal to, so that's just either 1 or 2. Okay, so there's 2 ways to do that out of 6. Okay, that's not a good answer, but 1/3 would work, or 0.333, okay, or 33.3%. Those all would be acceptable. Okay, let's take a look at some card ones. So examples with cards, and then just remembering there's 52 cards in a deck. Okay, so that's going to be the bottom of these fractions. Okay, so it's just how many of these things there are. So there's 4 kings in a deck. So the probability that we draw a king would be 4 out of 52, okay, which is 1 out of 13 once you reduce it. Okay, drawing a heart. Okay, there are 13 of those, 13 hearts in the deck. That's one of the suits. So that's 13 over 52, but that reduces to 1 over 4. And I'll just stick with fraction answers this time. Okay, drawing a black card. So that's half of them. There's 26 blacks, 26 reds. So 26 out of 52, which is 1 over 2. There's a 50% chance that you draw a black because half of the cards are black, half of the cards are red. Okay, and then the face cards, okay, that's either jack, queen, or king, but there's 4 of each of those. Okay, so this is 12 out of 52. When you divide those, you can divide those by 4, you can get 3 out of 13. Okay, those are just some basic types that you'll see. Okay, this next one is talking about complements. So if there's a 40% chance it rains tomorrow, or snows, sorry, what is the probability that it won't snow? Okay, so what we know is the probability that it doesn't snow, so we can use the squiggle for it, that's equal to 100% minus the probability that it does snow, and they told us that's 40. So 100% minus 40%. If there's a 40% chance of snow, that means there's still a 60% chance that it will not snow, that it doesn't happen. Okay. If a committee is made up of 10% freshmen and 20% sophomores and 20% juniors, that's 50% so far. If you add all that up, okay, what percent are seniors? Okay, well, if that's the only category left, correct? So freshmen, sophomores, juniors, the only category that's left is seniors. So the seniors have to make up the rest of that 100%. So it's 100% minus the percentage of all of the rest of the classes. So this committee must be 50% seniors. All right, and that is it for today's video. So being able to use probability rules just for some basic ones. So take a look at that yellow homework packet and complete pages 1 through 3. And then we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.